Hey everyone, welcome back to Evan's channel. Today, instead of doing a game breakdown, I want to talk about what I believe are some of the most important defensive abilities in basketball. By abilities, I'm not talking about specific footwork or individual basketball skills. I'm talking about broader concepts. These include physicality, transition offense, off the dribble shooting, the ability to break the defense, quick processing, contested shot making, the ability to neutralize the primary defender, scoring across a large operating zone, and unlimited shot creation. And these abilities actually have a certain progression to them from more basic abilities to more advanced ones. Some players only have one or two of these abilities. When that happens, you can often see some obvious weaknesses in their playoff performances. Some stars may only be missing one or two of them, but sometimes those one or two missing abilities can be the reason they lose against another elite team. Some of these abilities may have existed during a player's prime and then decline because of injuries or other factors. Others may have been major weaknesses throughout a player's entire career. So let's go through them one by one. First, physicality. Physicality is the foundation of basketball as a contact sport. It requires good upper body and lower body strength. Without strong physicality, it becomes very difficult to even talk about using basketball skills to consistently convert possessions into points. We actually mentioned this before when we analyzed Curry. Early in his career, his ability to play through contact was relatively weak. So when his three-point shot was not falling and the team needed some two-point scoring to stabilize the offense, Curry could become relatively passive because of that lack of physicality. However, Curry ranks among the very best in several of the more advanced abilities we are going to discuss later. That is why his ability to raise a team's offensive ceiling is so strong. Second, transition offense. The ratio between half-court offense and transition offense in a game is roughly 3-7. Although the highest level and most refined basketball skills are usually displayed in the half-court, and a team's ceiling is often determined by its half-court offense, lower-level games do not always require elite half-court creation. In those situations, strong transition offense becomes the foundation of a team's offense and helps establish its offensive floor. Typical examples are LeBron and Giannis. Physicality and transition offense are both relatively fundamental abilities. Third, off-the-dribble shooting. This includes things like one-dribble pull-posts, stop-and-pop jumpers, step-back jumpers, and similar shots. This ability may look simple, but strong off-the-dribble shooting is actually one of the prerequisites for having a large operating zone. Because defensive physicality in today's NBA has decreased and defensive spacing is much better than it used to be, having strong off-the-dribble shooting ability can almost directly translate into strong scoring ability. A player can even become a primary offensive option largely because of it. I think a good example is Austin Reaves. His rise from an undrafted player to a max-level contract is largely connected to how strong his off-the-dribble shooting is, even though his physicality is not elite. Today's league also provides a certain level of protection through the rules. To some extent, that reduces the impact of his weakness in physical contact. Fourth, the ability to break the defense. This is one of the clearest ways a star creates value. Star players can often attract help defense, or even multiple defenders. When they have the ball, they force the defense to collapse, which creates slower rotations and breaks the original defensive structure. That gives secondary creators better offensive opportunities. If you do not break the defense, then passing the ball to a teammate simply forces that teammate to finish or salvage the possession. That is different from actually creating an assist opportunity. There is a real difference between the two. Fifth, quick processing. I feel like this has become a relatively rare ability in today's league. What I mean by quick processing is that the entire process, from catching the ball, to breaking the defense, to creating a shot or making an assist, takes less than 3 seconds. Sometimes a player can complete the entire process in just 1 second. This reflects an extreme level of threat toward the basket. Sixth, contested shot making. With the way games are officiated today, and with the growing popularity of extremely deep three-point shooting, I think this ability has declined quite a bit across the league. The ability to make contested shots allows a player to continue creating offense, even under high-intensity defensive pressure. Otherwise, when a game reaches a critical moment and a player is required to create in multiple difficult situations, that player can easily disappear from the game. This is also one of the most important requirements for having a large operating zone. 7th, the ability to neutralize the primary defender. This ability essentially represents the highest level of breaking the defense. Help defense is only necessary when the primary defender can no longer handle the offensive player by himself. If one primary defender is enough to completely contain the offensive player, then the help defenders do not even need to react. In that case, the offense has not broken the defense at all. But if a player can neutralize the primary defender, then the defense has to begin the possession by committing what I would classify as 40-point defensive pressure. Otherwise, they are simply giving away points. And neutralizing the primary defender does not only mean being fast enough to beat him with one explosive first step. We can use Luka as an example. Luka uses his elite physicality while dribbling at a relatively slow pace. He constantly slows down, changes rhythm, and uses his body to keep the defender in a bad position. Then he converts those advantages into points through step-back jumpers, fadeaways, and shots through contact. In this way, the primary defender basically becomes ineffective. 8. Scoring across a large operating zone. Having this ability means that a player can potentially kill the game from almost anywhere in the half-court. That makes him extremely difficult to prepare for because he could attack from almost any area. As long as there is space on the floor, the player can use that space to operate and score. He is not limited to only the restricted area, only the three-point line, or only the mid-range. This also allows the team to build many different types of offensive actions around him. For example, look at Jokic in Denver. The Nuggets can run pick and rolls, use Jokic as the ball handler in pick and rolls, run high post handoffs, use him as a high post playmaking hub, and build many other actions from those concepts. At its core, the reason all of this works is that Jokic has such a large operating zone. His individual scoring threat allows him to activate the entire offense around him. 9th, sustained shot creation. Shot creation means that a player uses his own individual ability to create a legitimate scoring opportunity. The shot has to be threatening. It should be a shot within the player's operating zone, rather than a desperate attempt forced by the defense when there is no real option left. What I mean by sustained shot creation is the ability to keep creating these kinds of legitimate scoring opportunities possession after possession. This requires excellent stamina, because it allows a team to keep producing offense in the half-court without suddenly losing power or falling into long offensive dead periods. It also requires strong physicality because the player needs to consistently get to his operating zones and maintain his advantages under defensive pressure. A player with strong sustained shot creation can keep the offense functioning even when the game slows down, the defense becomes more physical, and easy opportunities disappear. That's all for today's discussion. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, and share the video if you can. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.